Looking ahead to 2026, it can feel like staring at an unmarked battlefield. You know challenges are coming, maybe even enemies you haven't met yet, and battles that will test everything you believe about yourself. But here's the most important thing you need to know. You were never meant to fight alone. Throughout history, God's people have faced impossible odds, armies they couldn't defeat, mountains they couldn't move, and enemies who laughed at their weakness. And in every single case, a clear pattern emerged. Those who trusted in their own strength eventually fell, but those who let the Lord fight for them always stood firm. Think about the righteous. They weren't necessarily stronger or smarter. They just understood a secret the world doesn't. Your job isn't to win every battle. Your job is to trust the one who has never, ever lost. So as you face the future, remember where your true strength comes from. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when others succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. Here's the truth that will anchor you in 2026. The battles that consume your mind, that steal your sleep, that make you want to take matters into your own hands, God already sees them, and He's not worried. The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them. But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for He knows their day is coming. Their swords will pierce their own hearts, and their bows will be broken. Better the little that the righteous have than the wealth of many wicked. For the power of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. In times of disaster, you will not wither. In days of famine, you will enjoy plenty, not because you're invincible, but because you're surrendered. Not because you're fighting harder, but because you've learned to step back and let God step forward. I was young and now I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging bread. They are always generous and lend freely. Their children will be a blessing. This is your starting point for 2026. Stop exhausting yourself trying to win battles that were never yours to fight. The Lord loves the just and will not forsake His faithful ones. Hope in the Lord and keep His way. He will exalt you. When the wicked are destroyed, you will see it. But here's the question that burns underneath all of this. If God fights for me, what am I supposed to do? What does the Lord your God ask of you as you face the battles of 2026? This isn't about passivity. This isn't about sitting back and doing nothing while you wait for miracles. God has a specific role for you in every battle you face, and understanding that role is the difference between victory and exhaustion. The Lord asks you to fear Him, to hold Him in reverence above every threat, every enemy, every circumstance that screams for your attention. When your boss becomes your biggest fear, you've lost. When your bank account determines your peace, you've surrendered to the wrong kingdom. Fear God, and suddenly every other fear shrinks. He asks you to walk in obedience to Him, not just when it's convenient, not just when you understand, but especially when the path doesn't make sense. In 2026, God will ask you to take steps that look foolish to everyone watching. He'll ask you to forgive when revenge feels justified. He'll ask you to give when you feel depleted. He'll ask you to stay silent when you want to defend yourself. This is how you let Him fight. You obey the orders even when you can't see the strategy. He asks you to love Him with all your heart and with all your soul, not as a distant commander, but as the one who set His affection on you before you did anything to deserve it. He chose you, He loves you, and when you love Him back, the battles you face become personal to Him. Touch His beloved, and you've picked a fight with God Himself. He asks you to serve Him not out of duty, but out of devotion, to observe His commands and decrees for your own good. Every instruction He gives you in 2026 is designed to position you for victory. When He says don't retaliate, it's because He's setting up the enemy's downfall. When He says be generous, it's because He's about to pour out abundance. When He says rest, it's because He's working behind the scenes. But here's where it goes deeper than mere obedience. Circumcise your hearts, therefore, and do not be stiff-necked any longer. It's not enough to just follow the rules while your heart remains hardened, skeptical, resentful. God doesn't just want your compliance in 2026, He wants your heart transformation. He wants you to become the kind of person who doesn't need to fight their own battles because you genuinely trust that He is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow and loves the foreigner residing among you, giving them food and clothing. If God fights for the defenseless, how much more will He fight for you, His child, who calls on His name? Fear the Lord your God and serve him. Hold fast to him and take your oaths in his name. He is your praise. He is your God who performed for you those great and awesome wonders you saw with your own eyes. So you have your orders for 2026. Revere him above all. Obey his voice. Love him completely. Serve him faithfully. Soften your heart to his leading. But even as you embrace these instructions, another question surfaces. What if I do all of this with the wrong spirit? What if I'm obedient but empty? What if I follow the plan but miss the point? Here's what you need to understand as you enter the battles of 2026. You can do everything right and still get everything wrong. If you speak the right prayers but do not have love, you're only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. Noise without meaning, activity without impact. If you have enough faith to believe God will move mountains in your career, your relationships, your health, if you can quote every promise in Scripture and claim every victory but do not have love, you are nothing. You've missed the entire point. If you sacrifice everything, if you give away all you possess to prove your devotion, if you endure incredible hardship for the sake of obedience, but do not have love, you gain nothing. All that suffering, wasted. All that effort, meaningless. Because here's what most people miss when they talk about letting God fight their battles. God doesn't just want to win battles for you. He wants to transform you in the battles. And the weapon he's forging in you isn't bitterness, isn't hardness, isn't cynicism. It's love. Love is patient in the battle. When the victory doesn't come on your timeline, love waits. When God's strategy takes longer than you expected, love trusts. Love is kind even to enemies. When someone is fighting against you, love doesn't curse them, blesses them, because you understand that God is fighting for you, so you don't need to crush others to feel victorious. Love does not envy when others seem to be winning while you're still struggling. It does not boast when you finally experience breakthrough. It is not proud, acting like your obedience earned God's intervention. Love does not dishonor others in the midst of conflict. It is not self-seeking, trying to manipulate circumstances for personal advantage. It is not easily angered when things don't go according to plan. It keeps no record of wrongs, not even a mental list of everyone who hurt you, everyone who doubted you, everyone who fought against you. Love does not delight in the downfall of those who opposed you, but rejoices when truth and justice prevail. It always protects your witness. It always trusts God's timing. It always hopes for redemption. It always perseveres through the longest battles. Love never fails. Strategies fail. Plans fail. Human strength fails, but love, God's love flowing through you, never fails. Prophecies will cease. The encouraging words people spoke over you might not come to pass the way you expected. Tongues will be stilled. Your eloquent prayers might feel unanswered. Knowledge will pass away. Your understanding of the situation might be incomplete. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. You see only a fraction of what God is doing in your battles. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. Right now, you see only a reflection as in a mirror. You see the battle from your limited perspective, but then you shall see face to face. You'll see how every setback was a setup, how every delay was divine, how every battle God fought for you was also a battle he fought in you to make you more like him. Now I know in part, you understand some of what God is doing. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. You'll see the complete picture of how God was fighting for you, even when you thought he was silent. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. You need faith to believe God will fight. You need hope to sustain you while he works. But the greatest of these is love. Because at the end of 2026, God doesn't just want you to say, "I won my battles." He wants you to say, "I became love in the middle of my battles." But this still leaves the most practical question of all. What does this actually look like when the battle is raging? How do I practice this when I'm under attack? Let's get specific about 2026, because you can know all the right principles and still miss what God is actually asking you to do when the battle begins. Here's what it doesn't look like to let God fight for you. It's not just claiming victory while you scroll through social media resenting everyone who seems to have it easier. It's not just fasting for breakthrough while you exploit your co-workers and cut corners in your integrity. It's not just praying for God to defend you while you gossip about everyone who wronged you. You cannot fast and pray as you do today and expect your voice to be heard on high. Your fasting ends in quarreling and strife, and in striking each other with wicked fists. Is this the kind of surrender God has chosen? Only a day for people to humble themselves in prayer. Is it only for bowing your head in Sunday worship and then living Monday through Saturday by your own strategies? Is that what you call letting God fight? A spiritual routine acceptable to the Lord? No. Here's what it actually looks like to let God fight your battles in 2026. When you face injustice at work, you loose the chains of injustice instead of plotting revenge. You untie the cords of the yoke instead of putting that yoke on someone else. You set the oppressed free instead of using your pain as permission to oppress others. You break every yoke instead of building your victory on someone else's defeat. When you face financial battles, you share your food with the hungry instead of hoarding what you have in fear. You provide the poor wanderer with shelter instead of closing your heart because you worried about your own needs. When you see the naked, you clothe them instead of walking past because you're too focused on your own battle. You do not turn away from your own flesh and blood the family members who disappointed you, the friends who failed you, the people who share your struggle. And here's what happens when you let God fight this way. Then your light will break forth like the dawn. In the middle of your darkest battle, breakthrough comes, and your healing will quickly appear. The wounds you've carried, the trauma from past battles, the scars that never seem to close healing, comes not when you fight for it, but when you surrender to love. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. You don't have to defend your reputation. You don't have to prove you were right. God goes before you and behind you. You're covered. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry for help, and He will say, "Here am I," not silence, not delay, not wait your turn, but immediate presence. Here am I if you do away with the yoke of oppressions. Stop trying to control and manipulate your way to victory. If you do away with the pointing finger, start blaming everyone else for your battles. If you do away with malicious talk, stop tearing others down to build yourself up. And if you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressive, you use your battle as a platform to help others in theirs, then your light will rise in the darkness and your night will become like the noonday. The darkest season of 2026 will become your brightest testimony. The Lord will guide you always. You won't have to figure out the strategy. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land. Even when resources look scarce, He'll provide and He will strengthen your frame. When you should be exhausted from battle, you'll find supernatural strength. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. While everyone around you is depleted, drained, burned out from fighting their own battles, you will be flourishing. Not because you fought harder, but because you let the Lord fight for you. Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the ajoiled foundations. The broken places in your life, your family, your legacy, they'll be restored. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets with dwellings. This is what 2026 looks like when you truly let the Lord fight your battles. You stop fighting like the world fights. You fight with trust instead of anxiety, with obedience instead of manipulation, with love instead of bitterness, with generosity instead of self-protection. And in the end, you don't just win the battle. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to fight anymore because you learned the secret. He is your praise. He is your God who performs great and awesome wonders. The battles of 2026 are not yours to fight. They're His. Your job is to trust Him, obey Him, love Him, and let that love overflow into every battle, until the battle itself becomes a testimony of His faithfulness. Then you will find your joy in the Lord, and He will cause you to ride in triumph on the heights of the land. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken.